guys, and welcome back to another episode of We Need to Talk. So, we hit 100 subscribers. Whoop, whoop. We hit it before y'all are even watching the episode where I said we better hit 100 subscribers before the end of the episode. Still subscribe. Still do it.
Yeah,
we
please.
still need those subscriptions. But, you know, we already hit it. Yay!
Woo!
Okay, so this week's episode is going off of the vibe of the nostalgia that we just did. Well, hopefully it's you and I we just did. Yeah.
It is.
We're going to be talking about things that blow your mind. We wanted to label it conspiracies, but some of these things are technically not conspiracies anymore, and they have been proven, and therefore it's not a conspiracy. We're gonna have some fun ones, and we're gonna have some ones where the boys will of course go off on tangents about things that I have no clue, and you'll just be looking at my face being confused while they're in the background just talking, but that's fine. So what are we gonna start with today, guys? Let's do a fun one, which would be like the Mandela effect, that he died in prison in 98.
Yeah, what?
Shrazi Mandela effect?
That's one of the ones that he died in the 1980s. And not in 2013 when he actually died.
Yeah.
What?
That was interesting.
I thought I was taught in school that he died when it was like 6.
What?
You
I
see?
thought his mom was dead when it was a child.
You see?
Nah.
They're about to be like, no, that's not a conspiracy.
What?
Bookie, he did not die when you were like 6 at all. He was very much alive and well when you were 6.
That's crazy. Damn. I thought no Mandela effect hit me. Damn.
But clearly, the literal Mandela effect did.
Yeah, everyone thought that he died in prison, and it went around what I guess was news at the time. It wouldn't have been social media, but like people mourning that he died in prison when Sweet Boy was very much alive and not dead in prison. And then when he actually died, people were like, wait, I thought he was already dead.
So what's the psychological reasoning behind these thought processes?
See, right? I don't actually know. That's not a good enough answer. But to me, when I think about it, you know how last week we were talking about timelines?
Mm-hmm.
Did the timeline get messed up in 2012? Did we all think that the world didn't end, but our world did end, and that we somehow merged in with another Earth, and we have... See, that could be a conspiracy.
Yeah, because we can't prove it. But let me be real. If we all died the same time, and
we didn't die,
and we all living in the same death dream.
So the instant of death when people just say
we
that.
didn't die. Our Earth did.
That is all right. Then that automatically means quantum immortality is real.
Why it can't be real?
Because it could be, but we can't prove it.
Okay, and that's why it's a conspiracy theory that we could have all died in 2012. Or, well, our Earth could have died in 2012, and we just kind of went bloop into another one.
So basically, what you saying that the Earth died in 2012 because of the Mayan conspiracy calendar?
We haven't even gotten to Mayans. But, like,
Wow,
so many things. Well, yeah, but no. Yes and no. Okay, dates-wise, I guess. But also... there's so many conspiracies that people have had, like the Mandela effect, like Berenstain Bears, which used to be Berenstain Bears. But then when you look at their last name, it's Berenstain. So then why wouldn't they name it after themselves? But everyone has that memory. And even some people have cassette tapes or like a book that has on the things that we thought were true and that everybody remembers, like Shazam with Sinbad, that doesn't exist.
It does. I firmly believe.
Doesn't exist.
It does.
There's Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal, but there is no Sinbad movie called Shazam. But people will die on the hill that there is a Shazam movie. So, like, why can't it be that our Earth just went, or we like mended in with another Earth? And I'm just using 2012 because that's when everybody was like, we're all gonna pass away. So like, that's how conspiracy theories are created, in my opinion. They just come out of thin air. You're just like, ooh, I have these thoughts, and it might be real, and therefore conspiracy made. I just combined a bunch.
Every conspiracy theory has some basis.
And if you think about mine, there's some basis to it. All of these things happen around the exact same time. So why couldn't it have been during that specific conspiracy theory of the world ending in 2012? Like, you thought a guy died years before, and then suddenly he was alive, but then the earth had to correct itself, and then he died the next year.
That's not how timelines work.
Who said that? Who said that?
That's also true, I guess. Yeah,
Who said that?
Quantum mechanics. Kinda. like a famous man once said, kinda timey wobbly.
Okay, so let's go on what we know as the general basis of how time's supposed to work. And
we don't know how time works. We really don't know
To
how
be
time
fair,
works.
actually, a lot of people know how time works. But there's a lot of people, there's like 57 people. Normal people don't know how time
They
okay.
don't
True.
know how time works.
Okay.
Physicists struggle to understand how time works. They're still like, they'll be like, "Oh, time works this way," and then they'll be like, "You know what? We were
Not
wrong."
really. We got a general consensus.
Yeah.
of
A
how
general
time-
consensus,
of
but
how
not
time
a
works.
this is how time works.
Time is not necessarily a known thing.
Relativity. You literally sent me a video about relativity this morning.
Yeah. To show you how time does work. We understand it, but the principle is very counterintuitive for a lot of people. So when you actually looking at time, because of one, gravity and light and yada yada, how we perceive time does then become very skewed to what time actually is, because we perceiving it
linearly.
Yeah, we perceiving it as a no effect because light moving so fast and we all experiencing the same dilations at the exact same time.
When they actually,
Yeah.
So what you're saying is my timeline corrected itself and killed a man a year later.
On a quantum scale, that can possibly be possible. And I am only saying that if you merge quantum mechanics with conspiracy theories, that can absolutely be possible. Because somebody could actually... When it's get on the quantum scale, it's become kind of...
ridiculous.
I have an example. Let's talk about time travelers. Because there are people who were like in 1980s with cell phones that they shouldn't have had, and you'll see a picture of them holding things like that, and or like a shirt that shouldn't have been a shirt yet.
To be fair, there are a million ways time travelers could exist. Sadly, I went down a TikTok rabbit hole about the man that saw people from our time in the 80s because of a time loop. In reality, it is possible and plausible.
And that could have just been like, let's say the time
Okay,
timeline.
we really moving from conspiracy
That's
to
a conspiracy.
paradoxes.
No,
But
this is my
also,
thing.
that is still a conspiracy because some people are like, it can't be that there is time travel, but then you give me quote unquote evidence, but aren't we in a day and age where AI is a thing? Who's to say that all of that stuff is actually real?
But remember the whole theory of time travel can only go back to as far as it began. So, for example, if you have a time traveler existing, let me say when JFK get assassinated, that also means that it was developed either before then or that same year. So, for example, the theory.
I don't know when time travel became.
But no, that's why a lot of the time people just debunk the time traveler theory. Because then it means, so for example, say a time traveler pop up now and tell me, yo, I travel back from the year 2192.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, that means today, time travel has to be existing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or would have been created today. But because you can't because of how we exist on the timeline, where we don't experience every fragment of time at the same time, which is how time technically works.
Mm-hmm.
We can't go back beyond what we know. Or go back to a point in space and time that we don't know. Because
time is very linear for us.
Yeah.
And that is
I thought
why.
you just said that time wasn't linear.
No,
That
but it is linear for us.
So time as a construct is, imagine, this is how it is explained it. You could tell me if you're doing it wrong. There is a bowl of water.
Mm-hmm.
In this bowl of water, everything exists at the same point at the same time. So everything at the beginning and end in this water bowl always existing. However, the fish that experiencing the water is us. And the fish can only experience the water as he goes in this direction. So I am pointing towards someone from behind the camera. So the fish experiencing the water in one direction. The direction that he cannot control. Well, for any outside observer, everything happening at the same time.
I just want you to know that since you sent me that relativity video this morning, that's all that's in my head. And now I'm like, okay, and then if another fish swims by at the exact same time and they look up at the sky, they're looking at different moments in time.
Yeah. Even if you...
Yo, I was watching...
We're confusing the viewers.
The viewers are smart.
They understand. For example...
I wouldn't understand what we're talking about.
She's saying crazy thing. If you're sitting down there and you're looking at the Andromeda Galaxy...
That was really sad.
Yeah, that's what
and somebody is running, looking at the same galaxy. They are seeing something that is days apart from what you are seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how time works. Once again, it's because we are three-dimensional, existing in four-dimensional space.
Well,
basically.
We could be existing in more dimensions.
And if we did, we would be able then to see time. We'll be able to travel through it. Like how we travel from point A to point B, left, right, up, down. It's the same way that how if you get a pencil and you just put a dot on a piece of paper, that is...
two-dimensional space.
Well, one-dimensional existing in a two-dimensional space. If you draw a line in a two-dimensional, and if you draw...
space.
Yeah, three-dimensional. We could all observe that, but they can't really interact with us.
Yeah.
And because it need a point, it need be able to travel left, right.
Brain just breaking?
And then we not able to experience stuff like
My
time.
brain is breaking. Physics is
We
hard.
can experience both time
Physics is
and
hard.
gravity.
It is only hard when
Physics is hard.
It is only hard when quantum physics
You
involved.
You can,
Yeah.
well, physics is all of that.
Newtonian physics is...
Oh
like the first day is learning quantum mechanics.
Luke,
is like,
I am your father versus no, I am your father.
Is no, I'm your father.
Mm-hmm.
Luke, I'm your father. No, that's... Watch the movie.
Which is just like Snow White. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And it's not mirror, mirror. It's magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
Nah, you lying.
You definitely lying.
I'm not lying.
Well,
100%.
Well, the makers don't know The maker is just like the maker of Uno.
That's exactly.
No, the maker is just like the maker of Uno.
Exactly
You don't know what you write.
Star Wars. It's exactly like Star Wars. I'm not pointing at it. That one came from my mind. That one is one that will always blow my mind. Of what do you mean it's magic mirror? No, it's not. It's not magic mirror, but it actually is magic mirror on the wall.
Isn't.
It's not mirror.
You know what?
Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all?
I mean, to be fair, it made more sense.
It does.
To put an adjective in front mirror so that you understand the
It's
context.
a magic mirror.
But, yeah. But no.
100%.
I grew up with
Mirror on the wall.
Really on that hill that the writers wrote wrong.
Very wrong.
Forgot and tried to compensate it.
Yeah. As you said, just like Uno when they try to be on X and they try to be like, you cannot put a draw 2 on top of a draw 2. Thank you for the game. We're going to play it the way that we want to play it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, they
These
don't know how
cards
to play
are
the game.
ours now.
They don't know how to play the game. They're trying to correct something that, stay in your lane. Just keep on printing cards.
What about the Monopoly man?
Yeah, apparently no monocle
100%.
But then, like, how was he seeing?
with eyes. Not
And
everyone
a
is
monocle
blind.
isn't really like just for
To, like,
seeing.
look at things. Because, like, bank tellers, like, if you look, like, even if how we were talking about, you've been served. The guy, what's his name? Had a little glass. He's got a little glass. It was like an old school thing. Like they would have it on their pocket, and
in
then
the
they would
20s.
just exactly. So that when you create a Monopoly, Mr. Monopoly person, you put a monocle, and then you were like, "Oh, we want to be modern." He has great 20/20 vision. No, he doesn't. He's blind and he's a bank teller.
That's not what the monocle was for.
What was it for?
It was a magnifying glass.
So
So
what
you-
the monocle is for? To look at things.
To magnify, to look for the counterfeit money. But the point is,
Oh my goodness.
Go on,
We're
people.
saying the same thing, Jared.
Yes.
That's what a monocle's for.
but he was not blind. He had 20/20 vision.
You can't have 20/20 vision and be like, oh, I need to magnify this to see it.
Have
If
you-
it's right there.
You got all vision money, you know?
You know what's crazy? I thought he was going to be like, you have an old vision monocle.
No.
I was just about to be like,
actually,
why would Andre just walk around with a monocle?
Sometimes you just gotta flex on people.
Like, money, I mean, it's not that small. If you have...
It is.
if
It
you look at
is.
the old Beijing dollars before these,
not that small.
yes, it was. It was. There's writing at the top of the note.
There's writing all over money.
Yeah. I got.
I'm stressing Derek out. I'm stressing him out.
It works with it. And you had to use a magnifying glass to see it.
So you're basically saying that he had a monocle. That's what you're saying.
Yes, but he can still see normally.
He does not have 20/20 vision.
She projecting blindness.
He doesn't have 20/20 vision.
It's okay, everybody. This is an inclusive place.
It's okay to be blind.
He does not have 20/20 vision. He needs
So-
the monocle to see things that were
To all my
apparently...
people that need to wear glasses, we shout you out.
So he didn't have 20/20 vision. This is the hill that I'm staying on. Do I believe Jarrett and saying that there's tiny numbers? I know that there's tiny numbers. I know that there's tiny words. I still don't think that you can have 20/20 vision and not be able to see that. Were you like 6 and not be able to like see little tiny writing? Yes, you can because you have carrot eyes.
Oh, that is a conspiracy.
A massive conspiracy.
Yeah,
That's why I said it.
carrots give you better vision.
It was a lie
They
to
don't.
us children.
Well, it was a light to
Just like how an apple a day does not keep the doctor away.
but it could.
It really could.
In a way.
No.
But yeah, the one with carrots is
I literally ate an apple a day for 2 months and I just have the flu that everyone had. Worse.
But did you go to the doctor though?
Yes.
Down.
if
I
you
ate an
eat
apple.
it
Every day.
Before you got it?
Yes.
Well, that's one. Then
This is my
small
lived
white apples.
experience. This is a lived experience that conspiracy is debunked for Simone. I could be wrong. My body could just work different. But I feel like if one person goes against the theory, I am not an outlier.
Definitely an outlier.
I'm not an outlier. We drew a line.
What did you eat alongside the apples?
Eggs.
Okay.
Trans fats. Cholesterol.
I just really like eggs. Eggs. I don't know about a problem with eggs.
Excuse me. Someone who is very well into the nutrition of it is the one that told me to eat eggs and apples. So take it up with him.
So, or maybe.
Take
is
it
that-
up with him.
Or maybe is that if you didn't eat the apple a day, you wouldn't have.
Guys, he's trying to say that I would have passed away.
An apple a day keeps the morgue away.
Better.
Yeah.
There's no doctor in the morgue. Jared just looked at me like if I'm crazy.
Well, mortician is.
Help!
So
Okay.
just a random person that's come off the street and start examining dead bodies.
Yep.
Like, yo, George, come here, look at this for me. Just left this person
Did
dead
you know
around.
that dead bodies could still move after they're dead because of like muscles and
Yeah.
Yeah.
spasm? That is crazy. Why would I want to be a mortician and then all of a sudden a body just go?
Got the person dead?
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he's a mortician. That's why he wants to get it done. Take a
Apparently you've
random
never
person
watched
off the street.
iZombie, or it's not iZombie,
There's a lot of zombie movies that like that.
where people just wake up and not be dead. I didn't mean iZombie. I didn't mean a zombie movie. There's a picture where they people just
A picture or a documentary? That will be a scene.
It's a picture.
So for this,
Fiction, yes. Simone has been saying controversial things this entire episode to rile the boys up.
You're not riled up.
Aren't they?
I'm riling up Jarek. Every single time I say something, Jarek is like,
I'm not rolled yet. I have not gotten load.
you are
Super low.
100% riled up.
I am.
Pikachu's tail. Was it always yellow? Did it have a black tip?
Always yellow.
Jarek is dying because he thinks it had a black tip.
I have the picture from when I was younger. Very black.
Insert picture here.
You see, the issue, right, is that
You know, we said we were going to insert pictures last time and we didn't insert any pictures.
You what?
Recording the episode, I was supposed to insert pictures of what we looked like while we were
Oh
done.
no, I made sure not to. I like my life. I don't want Courtney to find me. You see, I am afraid of Buttercup.
yeah, go and watch Powerpuff Girls episodes, guys.
Yeah.
Did you not see how much illusion I put up to the fact that she was Buttercup from the start?
Yeah.
I was afraid.
She would have whooped your ass. She would have washed you off.
Dog, the minute
Oh, I know
said-
you'll still be Gambit.
The minute she said this was not a safe place for us, I was done. I was like, yup, Moshe. Nothing else to say.
So we actually maybe we'll actually insert the Pikachu picture.
I will.
Yeah. But I think that, like,
The design changed.
but I also think, like, things like Pokemon, where it's supposed to resemble kind of life, where animals, they're outliers of animals that got genetic mutations, i.e. like shiny Pokemon. It's like, I could believe that there is a Pikachu with a black tail.
It's not Ash one.
But Ash Pikachu,
It's all yellow tail.
yeah, he's a plain Jane. He
It is,
is normal.
It's Sparky that got the black tip tail.
But I would even believe that Red would catch a black tail Pikachu.
Because
Red is a much better Pokemon trainer than Ash.
Mm-hmm.
Satoshi.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yes. Right.
Hashtag like 36 euros to be
Last
before.
anime con I went as. Why am I just suddenly going blank?
Misty.
I know, but like my brain just went. I went as Misty. Did anyone tell? No. I was a pretty good Misty to me. I was just a black Misty.
And that's called reverse swap. Misty.
Yeah. What's her turtle star you?
Yeah.
You know who she could have gone as?
Turtle.
I didn't mean to say
I
turtle.
know, but we can catch you on that. You go.
I
trigger us! Do not trigger!
I meant to say
Oh my god.
what was her pet thingy that she walks around with, and I just said turtle.
I just want you to know. She could have gone as the girl from Sword and Shield. The black girl with the
I
long
don't
braids.
want to be a black person when I am cosplaying whoever I feel like. Why does it have to be race? I could be a purple person. I don't care about black or white. I want it to be Misty. So I was Misty.
Oh, way to break race norms.
Damn.
You go, girl.
It wasn't even
Jared
that.
trying to set me up telling me that I gotta be a black person. Why I
It
gotta be
was
a black?
not.
Why I gotta be a black person for? And my hair was all in the two, and it had look just like hers. Why I gotta be a black person for?
Because.
And my shoes had look like Star U shoes.
Yeah, what?
Star U. My shoes looked like Star U, not
She had on
Star
her
U shoes.
rashes. What
Okay.
color?
Blue and white. Harachis.
Wait, what?
So basically, she was
A shiny.
a
With-
race swap Misty that still went completely black because she had on
Harachis.
Nikes.
I made Misty my own. That's the point.
She basically is like, why
I
you
was
bring
like-
Misty to the ghetto? It's like Misty become Makisha. Go girl.
Why not? Like Shamisha or something.
Still brand out. Brings the energy.
I love these racist names.
That's all right. That's not racist.
Anyways, the
Culturally
idea that we
appropriate.
live in the Matrix style simulation
Yeah, that's
and
not.
glitches like the Mandela effect are proof that reality isn't real. Deja vu and weird coincidences, and the fact that physics obeys mathematical laws suggest that we are in a programmed universe.
This is obey laws up to a point.
Literally.
Once again, Newtonian
Of
physics.
course, the
does.
engineer would pick that specific
Oh, that-
detail out of everything I just listed.
Let me quote it
He
once
wasn't
again.
like, "Oh yeah, the Mandela effect. Oh yeah, glitched out matrix." He was like, "Actually, okay,
That's a point.
okay."
Like how-
weird.
Can we get
at
to the
quantum
point
level.
of what I just said? The matrix. That's the point. We're not going back into another physics rant.
Okay.
The matrix.
Yes, Matrix.
Are we living in a
We
matrix?
could be.
What's that movie that?
The Matrix.
Time out. You are on time out. The movie
This is what free
with
will looks like.
Jim Carrey, where
Truman Show.
Yeah.
yeah,
Me, my favorite show.
okay, where he gets in the car and he's like, and this person is gonna walk behind the car right now, and then they walk behind the car, and so is gonna pull around the corner.
Yeah.
Insert clip from Truman Show. No, we're not gonna do that. Copyright.
I mean, it could, but we
How old is the Truman Show?
very old.
Okay, so we could probably put that in.
We in
Make it small, inverted, and
I put Subway Surf at the bottom. Yeah, we got it. So that people could pay attention better.
So, the point of that
Shut up,
example
ADHD.
was to be like, okay, so everything only happens around us, matrix style. Like it kind of revolves around what we do.
Okay,
I'm
actually,
burping. Sorry.
real good hot take. Have you ever seen your neighbors taking groceries?
No.
I don't even believe that I take out groceries myself. I know I got to be doing it, but it's like,
I've also never seen my neighbors put out the trash.
I've seen. So, a very key point of the simulation theory. No, I like this part because I like games. For the simulation to conserve assets, you only ever perceive what you are doing if it helps the overall story. So, for example, if you carry out your trash, 8 out of 10 times you will never see somebody else carrying out garbage unless it helps progress your story along. So, like for example, I'll be taking out garbage random days, and everybody outside, and you be like, "Oh, hi, Jarek, I see you in like 2 weeks," and just be like, "Why all I want outside?"
So that's why randomly on some Sundays, not every Sunday, there's got somebody cooking curry in my neighborhood. That's to advance my plot.
Could be.
yeah,
To make me hungry.
probably.
Correct.
So
To
basically-
indicate to your body that you need to eat sand.
So is somebody matrix theory also like, you know that way to say if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound?
Yeah.
If with
Does
that
it?
concept,
It does.
again, does it? Does it make a sound? I mean, it
Yes,
should.
because it's still a tree and it's still falling.
But if you
But
are
sound-
perceiving it,
Sound is not about perception.
It is.
yes.
No.
I can ask you a question. Have you ever been in BIM when Concorde was leaving and
No.
not near the airport?
No.
Exactly. I
I
live
don't.
near the airport.
I have never experienced anything of what you just said.
You weren't
The
alive for.
Concorde? No clue what you're talking about. I do know what the Concorde is. But stressing Jericho.
Let me get to Andre because Andre live on these footpaths. Do you ever remember hearing Concorde popping before it land?
No.
Exactly. Allegedly, when it was slowing down to come to Barbados, there was supposed to be the sound barrier breaking. And when it left Barbados, you were supposed to hear a pop. I've never heard no such thing. And I went to school near to the airport. I have seen that plane land a million times. So I do believe if it's not for you to perceive, you will not hear it.
Fun engineering fact. They're actually trying to design some aircraft that could do like what the Concorde was doing, but
Safer?
yeah, in terms of the sound boom, the sonic boom and everything, so that yeah, it got there's
If you play music and you leave, does the music not make a sound anymore?
how would you know?
Exactly. You believe it.
It should be.
It
But
should.
once again,
You can't perceive
it
it.
literally have stopped playing, and then when you get back into the room, then it start back.
Or
At how much ever time it was supposed to be at.
Is the world real?
No,
well, I mean, as real as it could
In
be.
The Sims?
it
It
could
could be in the Sims for God.
Like literally a 7-dimensional being could just got we in the background of his 6-dimensional,
House.
yeah, and just writing an algorithm for us.
Yeah.
We could be the algorithm that
And
he
that's why
writing for
people's-
school.
That's why people's house randomly catch on fire. You know in The Sims how you just leave them for a little while and they just just randomly start a fire. They cannot have any sort of appliance to match up things. And then you'd be like, a fire has started.
Yeah, we could literally be someone's thesis project that they're from some interdimensional being, and he has just come a check back, and every once in a while he's like, oh God, what are they doing?
Yeah.
I just left them.
If you have-
They
have you
built
guys
a pyramid,
ever-
and no nuclear war nearly started.
Have you guys ever watched like videos of Sims? Like, I left my Sims on for 24 hours. You'll leave them with food. You'll leave them with a bathroom. You'll turn on their free will. They would have peed themselves like 6 times. They would have starved to death. They know how to cook. They know how to get food, but they will still starve. They will still pee themselves. They will still stink. And then they'll die after like 3 days. Mind you, you could sit at the computer and watch them for their 3 days and they won't do any of that. But because you're not watching them anymore, they're like, yeah!
Freedom. Yeah. And that is literally what humans have done for the past forever. You know what's a better conspiracy theory? Because it's not really a conspiracy. So you know that we just circle the Milky Way, right? Takes 225 million years to do that. Horseshoe crabs have existed for it twice.
Oh.
So we should ask a horseshoe crab if the Milky Way exists? I don't understand the point of that sentence.
As in, we are supposed to be God's perfect creation. A horseshoe crab has evolved to be that, and that's it.
So the horseshoe crab is God's perfect creation?
Clearly.
I mean,
let's think about it.
We were God's perfect creation, and then we sinned a bunch, and He was like, "Don't wanna." I'm done with you.
I just want you all to realize.
He said, "Go ahead, do whatever you are doing," and then He said, "You know what, horseshoe crab, you haven't jacked up.
You ain't switch at all. You ain't switch on me, buddy. You's a right or die. Exactly what I tell you, you do." Here for life eternal.
Literally.
On the right hand of God is no harsher crowd, right? I'm looking for the lightning. Shidori Nagas.
The memory hole theory. Some people believe that history is being subtly altered or erased, either by governments or an unknown force. People recall seeing news stories about events that later seem to never happen, and then like Mandela effect, deletions and stuff. So this one is like a combination of what we talked about already.
But we already know that the government does be hiding things.
So they're just deleting memories, deleting.
I wasn't even say deleting memories and just killing people. It's like, oh, this subset of people know this amount of information, and we just do let me call it a cleansing, because it's somewhere better than genocide.
Yeah.
So we do a small little cleansing, and everybody that have seen this, we can just whoopsie.
But then that makes you think about the fact of, like in Coco. Sorry, excuse me. In Coco, how did you guys watch Coco? Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched it, well, you're about to, have information.
You okay?
Ruined. Please edit out me sneezing.
Nah, we keep it late because you literally said ruined right after on cue. It's so perfect.
So in Coco, when Coco's grandfather, right, thinks that he's going to be forgotten. Coco thinks his grandfather is going to be forgotten because they have that day where they remember spirits. And if you forget a spirit, so if no one's there to remember you anymore, you essentially die in the spirit world. Like you're gone from the spirit world. So he went to the spirit world to figure out like what actually happened with his grandfather, because he left. No, it's not his grandfather. It's his great grandfather. His grandmother is the only person that's living that remembers her father, because the women in the family stopped him from being spoken about because he left and never came back. But the truth was he got killed by his business partner, and that's why he didn't come back. But they thought that he just abandoned them, so then they weren't speaking about him anymore. And technically she was the only person that remembered him in the present, and you put up their pictures and you remember them. The song Remember Me is so sad. Anyways, so he went into the spirit world to figure out all of these stuff, and then figured out that the person that he thought was his great grandfather wasn't even his great grandfather, is the one that murdered his great grandfather. But then he brought back this information and was like telling his family, and he figured out the truth, and he got his grandmother to remember because she was like really, really old and she was dying. So he now remembers the great grandfather. So like he's gonna live in the spirit world. He's not gonna disappear. So I brought all of that up to say, like, do you think because like going based on the conspiracy that you were just talking about, if we all die, we know this one person, and then we all die, and we don't teach anybody about that person, does it feel then like if that person ceased to exist, or you can convince people that live on that that person never existed because all of the people that knew that person are now dead and can't corroborate if they were alive or not?
Yeah.
100%. This is part of why there's the whole thing of leaving a legacy.
Like, at the end of the day, I mean, who has said it? You can put it up, but a man does die twice. Once physical death, and then the second time when he forgotten. So that is why,
So sad.
yeah, and that is why y'all should not come in. Hitler, Stalin.
One of these days, I might tell Jared to not dolphin out whenever Andre says what he says. Today is not that day. Dolphin it out.
Every dictator.
Like, I want to like to give me all this word with this stuff. Actually, I have to specifically be that Courtney neck, because I had to dolphin out so much shit. I actually just get turned out like near the end.
Yeah.
I was just like, nah, and then
And then some curse words just went bleep, 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 bleep. And I was like, Jared, why you didn't bleep out these curse words?
I was tired.
Yeah.
It was for the start of it. Oh, bleep out this person's name. I was like, man, when I canceled it that much, and then it started.
We're going to cut this part out because technically we said her name before you started bleeping it out. And then you started bleeping it out. And it was like, Jared, we already said her name. You didn't bleep out when we first said her name.
Because it did not trigger in my head till I watched it. I was just like,
So then when it bleeps out after, I'm like, but we already done said what it is.
you know why? Because that's when I was like, remember to bleep out she name. And I was like, cool. I am so glad you all said this
So-
in the episode.
If you watch the video, we say her full name. And then when we're just saying Miss Torres, it's just like bleep, bleep, bleep. And I'm just like, we already done said this woman full government name. I know you want to bleep it out.
I was following instructions
Anyways,
from Basaka.
back to the episode. The next one is the doppelganger glitch.
Oh, you mean like mine? Has Andre never told you that I have like a bunch?
Yeah.
No, it's not just people that look like you. It's like they're you. Their face is your face. Their body is your body.
Literally, I have 7
Yeah.
in Barbados.
That is crazy because with Derek being 6'7", you would think that. Rare.
And that got nothing to do with like New York. So my best friend, when he left, he was living in New York. And I remember he went to work this day, and he gets to work, frantically called me, scared. Man, like, you still in Barbados, right? I was like, yeah. Cool. Looks at the fella. You sure? Yeah. And then I hear a voice in the background was African, but it had the same tonal inflections as mine. The man likes everything that I like. We play the same games. His nicknames are almost like mine. How everybody know me as Fonzie, his is an African variant of that. And we're the same height, the same age, He's from Nigeria.
So the world glitched out the
I
day
have
that you were born.
Yeah, a lot. There are a lot of me's. He's and
Just
Andre.
glitched out.
Andre is seen it. Everybody that I am friends with have seen it. Like I have a bunch of Dopplers, and I didn't even like comment on like what happened to my family. That's another story.
That can't count.
No,
Y'all got
no.
the same genetics.
Clearly, my genetics pool.
Doppelgangers are not people that have the same genetics as you.
Technically, we in a genetic cesspool. You literally
Yeah,
can get
but-
the same genes without being the same genetic.
Yeah, but no. Yes and no. For the purpose of the doppelgangers.
But yeah, no, I don't know my
It's
family.
like somebody that is like miles away from you that looks exactly like you, and they all happen to go on the same holiday trip, and then you just go like, yo, this person has my face.
I am glad I have never
Like the guy on
seen.
TikTok that looks exactly like Tupac.
If I saw one of my doppels in real life, my reality would break instantly.
Which also brings us to, is Tupac alive?
Yes, he is.
Why did he fake his death?
Because of P. Diddy. That can be
Now
dolphin
that
out.
P. Diddy is going down, will Tupac resurface?
No.
Why?
Because of the overlords in the NWO. I have to edit out all this, Jesus.
Why do you have to edit it out?
I will say this. I have a resounding fear of the NWO, the Illuminati. I know Freemasons.
Okay. So that brings us to
Where's Andre when you need him?
the guy that is on TikTok that looks exactly like Tupac. Is Tupac alive?
100%. He in Cuba, living life.
Cuba? Why Cuba?
Because the U.S. can't go Cuba?
Fair. Is Elvis Presley alive?
Nah. However, I
They
do.
found all sorts of DNA of an aged person.
However, I do believe he may have had a twin, and that was
So we believe in the twin conspiracy.
yeah. Because I think when you look at how much work Elvis did, it shouldn't have been possible for one man. I do think that
So Elvis Presley isn't just one person.
I don't think so. That's my theory. Like after watching like what happened to Elton John, who had like a very similar work schedule, and how much drugs he had to take to keep up, which eventually caused him to break down. Why didn't Elvis break down?
Maybe he had better drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. The end result is not good.
Correct. And I am also an Elton John fan. Huge.
So, we believe in the twin conspiracy for Elvis. So, when the first Elvis, the person who was probably legally named Elvis, died, his twin went into hiding.
Had to be.
Why did he go into hiding? Why didn't he just continue with the Elvis-ness of it all?
Because
if you think about it, he could have still continued the fame. If we're going with your theory, and he's a twin, and they're both doing the work, he could have just scaled back on the work that he was doing.
nah, that wouldn't have worked.
Why?
You gotta realize that when it comes to these sort of things, you are there to prop up the real deal. This is not like the case of Avril Lavigne. We ain't get there yet. Avril Lavigne was at the peak of her career and magically probably dead. And her Doppler was asleep. However, in the case of Elvis' run was pretty much done when Elvis died. So there was no need to be like, oh, let's keep pushing Elvis. There were plenty of other new stars to take over.
But if we're saying that Avril was at the peak of her career and then she died, Melissa isn't as popular. Everyone hates Melissa. Everyone. We're putting everyone in quotation. Everyone thinks that Melissa's Melissa, and they're like, Melissa, you're not tricking us. You're not Avril. Your voice is different. Your songs are different. Your mannerisms are different. So why didn't they just let her die?
Because they thought it would work.
And then when it didn't, you could have just been like, oh.
Now you gotta double down. Gotta double down.
Always double down.
Always double down.
Always double down.
If you so like to keep the illusion perfect, you have to double down. Because if they said, all right, you know what, this ain't working out, and we can reel back the roller of this other Avril Lavigne, for example, that brings into doubt everything for decades.
But they already brought in dope for decades.
But no, it's
Her
not just
music
about.
has never been as popular.
However, it's not. That being said, you're not bringing in dope for her. You're bringing in dope for everything that predates. So Paul McCartney, Elvis, Tupac, MJ, every potential conspiracy theory will then be free game. So if the theory is real and you did replace Avril Lavigne, for example, then go double down. Every time something like that happen, you go double down with the decision you made. There's no
in business, a lot of people will understand this. A lot of people don't. Explain what has happened with a rumor. What happens when you address a rumor? Is only a couple things that can happen. If somebody say, it's sky red, if you address it, then you set a precedent. But you then not addressing it the next time, people can assume that what they said has merit. So the only thing you can only ever do 100% of the time is double down and not say anything. By the time you start having a conversation about any rumor, you set yourself up for failure. It is 100% guaranteed that you set yourself up for failure.
Correct.
There is no win for the person. Once a rumor out, just shut up. Just unfortunate, but just shut up. No, because once you start talking, if another rumor spread, you have to continue with that energy.
Yeah.
And by either saying something, you set yourself up. And by not saying something, you set yourself up. It is unfortunate.
If we go all the way back to the beginning of this episode where you asked me, was the psychological stuff behind conspiracy theories? I feel like there's a lot of gaslighting. Like, there's so much truth that people don't want you to know for whatever reason. So they just gaslight people and make them feel crazy. Like, gaslighting can literally make you go insane because then you start to really question your reality of things. And then if we're going so far as to the one that I created in the beginning, being like, oh, maybe our world ended and smushed with another one. Is reality even reality? Is it even real? Is it like, what is reality? If we're going with the Matrix thing, then there is no reality. We're just in a simulation. Therefore, like, none of it is real. So glitches and mistakes would then make your brain just go. Exactly.
You ever heard the theory of why when people encounter eldritch entities, they go mad? Alright. So this goes along the line of understanding reality. So let's take an ant. We put an ant on a circuit board. An ant does not usually perceive the world in the same view as us. A lot smaller. Even though they exist in 3D space, they can't perceive a lot of structures. Now you put an ant on a circuit board, and then the ant understands the circuit board. And then the ant realizes that it is a circuit board with no prior knowledge. And then you remove the ant from the circuit board and replace it into its home. The ant can get mad because it understands something that was beyond this world and then has to revert to explain of existence. No, we're humans that encounter all deities, gods, demons, everything in between. Have they ever understand anything beyond our realm of understanding? What happens to them? They go mad. So in reality, we can't understand the full scope of reality because we would go mad.
And that brings us to Lucy. That movie was amazing. And that's why Scarlett Johansson, when she became all knowing and all whatever, her body got destroyed and she turned into a not a god being thing that was everywhere at one time because technically her body couldn't hold the information that she downloaded.
So suddenly I just realized who is more overpowered, Lucy, Dr. Manhattan, or whoever the guy named from Interstellar when he actually went into
Bro,
because you know
so okay, so I've thought about this at length, and I want to talk about this.
that's crazy. I just thought about it. So it's crazy that he hadn't thought
I've
beforehand.
never thought about it.
Okay, so in the case of Lucy, Lucy was still bound to our world, our rules, and for her, she did not figure out a way to contain all the information without losing her body.
Mm.
So it doesn't mean. So it means that she was in no way nearly OP. Like she know is omnipresent, which is cool, but no, she can't ever hold back a physical form, which is pretty much what Donna.
Okay.
Doctor Manhattan,
Able to be omnipresent
Is it-
and omnipotent.
exactly.
Okay.
He is the next closest thing to the man from Interstellar because he survived Freako's spaghettification and got to Tesseract.
Okay.
Words.
All right, so
To be fair, also, spaghettification kinda different when it's come to black holes because they got supermassive black holes that, once again, the singularity actually pretty big. So anyway,
we're not going there.
Spaghettification is not when you go into the black hole and your body can't sustain being pulled and pushed at the same time. So it just
well, it being pulled apart basically.
and on an atomic level.
Yeah, infinitesimally.
the audience, if you didn't know, that's what spaghettification is.
It's like
You're welcome, because they were never gonna explain it to you.
I was gonna put it on screen,
Okay.
but the key thing is that brought up another question of if exactly like a black hole is real.
it is.
Well, no, not if it real, as in
If a
the
black hole is real.
interstellar black hole. We're not talking about any black hole. We're talking about specifically. The
Oh no, yeah, no, the interstellar black hole real. The physicists did a very good job of making a very close conceptualization of.
Yeah,
of
I
that.
mean, what occurred? Like the whole process.
Okay.
Like you land the event horizon, go beyond the event horizon,
Mhm.
get into said point, and then you can interact with time how it's supposed to be interacted with. So, key other point of how the concept of time in the movie exists. Our main character goes into into the black hole, ends up in the tesseract. Did not know what he was doing at first, and then he started to realize the ghost him and his daughter thought lived in the house with them was him in the future sending messages to them.
First of all, before we even talk about what you just said, they were just cool with a ghost living in the house with them.
They didn't really have a choice. The Earth was dying.
Yeah.
So
At that point, it's like, yo, go outside and die, or
Stand in the house.
let's go. The ghost pretty chill. The ghost.
okay.
All the man used to do was literally like they had a bookshelf and he would push out certain books in binary code.
Yeah, and then the watch. I think he was also doing
Yeah,
the.
he was moving the watch to time.
So we're just okay.
So essentially, what ended up happening after he went to Tesseract, he understood the whole rule between gravity, time, and light, which is to mean that if you could manipulate gravity, you then get past the issue of going beyond light speed, which also then gives you the ability to traverse space and time properly. I put it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Close enough. More timey wobbly.
Yeah.
I love that. My brain is just like, so he was okay with a ghost, and they're like going in depth into the
Let me be real.
time space.
You know what? The one part about that blow me cool. The fact that his daughter realized, nah, this can't be a ghost, cause ghosts not that smart.
Basically.
Who said that ghosts are not smart?
The ghost literally. So essentially, what the ghost was doing was giving her equations in binary code.
I think we should all just get into a black hole.
Okay.
Please,
So
I have enough of those stories.
we have lists of episode topics. And Andre keeps trying to push this cemetery walk at night thing. My mother is from Dominica. She was born there. Her home, if you walk from church to her house, you have to pass through two cemeteries. It's a road, but like on one side is a cemetery, the other side is a cemetery. It's just two big walls. So we're walking home from midnight mass at Christmas. I have to walk up this ginormous hill. Cemetery on one side, cemetery on the other side. Pitch black at night. You think after they've experienced that? And not to mention, we were in the car. We're playing music. We drive past the cemetery. And funny me goes, "Hi, ghosts." Music turns off.
Andre, you should know better.
I said nothing. It was cool. It was cool. I was like, all right,
Alright, so
whatever.
I'll tell you my one story, and this is why I have a lot of reasons to believe in paranormal. Remember Chase Vault?
No,
You never heard about Chase Vault?
no.
Okay, let's tell you quickly about Chase Vault. There's a vault in Christchurch Churchyard where every time they put the things in the crypt, whenever they go about to clean the crypt,
Do they have a crypt keeper?
yes, and the also in the life of the family,
Sorry.
the guy married this one girl, and then she never got along with none of the family, and even in death, it never stopped. Whenever they put her casket inside, you'd come back after the crypt done get shut up, and everything shut down.
I
And
said, "Butterfly, you're not coming here."
so
You are not coming in here.
my boys and I we was getting cadets, and we was laughing cadets just passing through the cemeteries always. So I was like, "Oh, part Chase Vault." So I was like, "Oh, let me show you. This here is the Chase Vault." Blah 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 blah. He's walking through the gate. Da da da. And I will turn around now to like go down the Oysters Hill. And the next thing I hear the man holler was, "Do not pelt that so and so rock." And all I heard was patang, and it was running. Do you know the next thing I saw? I looked back and there was something chasing all of us. And you know when you get frightened, you do weird shit. The men in Scarborough asked me if I Spider-Man because they got the steps to Scarborough. I jumped down all three landings, hit the ground, and took off. The next thing I remember was when I get to the bottom, and I was looking around like, how the F I get down here? So I started walking back, and the man was like, "Yo, little man, you alright? What the frig you don't see?" It was just like, I don't know. The man was just like, "You just walk, you jump, la," and I had on a big ass bag. And all the men was scattered. So I was in Scarborough. One man was on Miami Beach. Two other men were at the bottom of Oysters. And the man that hit the rock onto the thing, the man literally get lost in a bush down from foundation. You can't get lost in the bush down from foundation because there's literally a trap. And it's like a 2-minute trap.
You can't get lost in the bush if it's not the bush's foundation.
And the man was like,
He was transported.
all the man telling me is he don't know where he went. He was just running through bush, and I was just like,
Yeah. That Sam don't try to rock. He got what was coming to you, what you mean?
he is now a reformed man.
You think I tell the ghost or something? Go along, have it. If you want it, go and have it. You think I go fight with you? You was here longer than me, must see. When I was younger and my grandmother was late, she used to say that when she was laid on the bed, that had a ghost in her house that would like push her around to come and lay down on the bed too, and she would push it back and be like, "No, go and sleep somewhere else." I'm laughing, but these things are so real. Like, I know that people are like afraid of them and like to be like, "No, that doesn't exist," and in the name of Jesus and stuff like. girl, I believe in Jesus too. But these things is there. They are there. And being in denial does not stop them from being there. They're there. Just like the ghost in my house. And I'm not gonna fight him. If you want a piece of the apple, have the apple.
Nah,
Have the apple.
I
I ain't get dead for the apple, you mad? And then
I
they stuck in I can chew me for my. No, thank you.
I on a different time. I just be like, ghost, you really feel
Also, when people die in houses, like I ain't not going in that house. I don't care if you bless it from now till Jesus'
When you
second
bless
coming.
it?
I want you to realize.
First of all, if you know certain people and their spirits and how determined they were to be not very nice people, and you know that in that afterlife, they're not in the afterlife. They're in their house still being a spirit. Why would I want to go into your house and live in it?
Because I ain't gotta do nothing.
Excuse me? That's not true.
Let it dead.
Just how he could drop the apple, them could do me something.
Let the dead bury the dead.
All I can say is, right?
And you bless it because if you're an evil spirit, then it's just to cleanse and to say, okay, go about your business. You don't need to be here. It's just a thing.
Oh.
So,
It's not really like a. Ooh.
so my hot take is, realistically, everywhere in Barbados, somebody dead on some square foot of land.
Yeah.
Which means, in theory, Barbados is the best place for a horror movie.
You see, I'm afraid of horror movies and I'm afraid of the dark and I'm afraid of this conversation.
Like, imagine somebody use a
Not be
Ouija
able to
board.
sleep tonight. And that's why we're not doing a cemetery walk. If they do a cemetery walk, have fun. Have fun.
Not me.
But you know who's not going to
No.
be there? Me. I'm not going to be there.
I've been around Christchurch Cemetery too many times at
I'm going to be
night
there.
and
I
seen
don't
too
go
many
to
weird
cemeteries
things.
during the day.
Listen,
I don't like to go near deceased people. I'm sorry. I loved you while you were alive. That's not you anymore. There are very few people that I went near their bodies after they died, and I was freaked out.
Yeah, so from my perspective, the only people that ever try to harm me is people that are alive. I never had a problem with a dead person.
I'm so happy for you that Jesus is on your side.
Show me, yeah, Jesus died, boy. Like the dead buried the dead. I just go and I was just like,
Darling,
this man dead, boy. He can't.
there are some vengeful spirits.
Yeah, okay. let it be vengeful. What I can do, me?
vengeful with itself.
Exactly, you can be vengeful, like brother.
And I hate conversations like this when people are like, no, they can't do me anything. No, you have respect for things. That's why you have respect for the ocean, because the ocean will kill you.
Oh, 100%.
Hot take. How he is to dead spirits is how I am to the ocean.
Yeah.
Because
No. What do you mean how he is to dead spirits? You are to the ocean.
You don't care?
I have almost... Actually, have I never
If the
told you
ocean
this
told
story?
you to die, you won't die. Moana, bitch.
Have I never told you this story?
The ocean wants you to die, you will die. You will, in fact, die. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Have you met the ocean? Have
yes.
you met it?
Yes. All right. Let me pause here.
I've also almost died.
Let me pause here.
Kitchen. And you know what? Expose yourself. Ain't just me on this episode that get call out. Nah.
Call out. I have.
Speak. This better not be paused. If this is not this episode, I try my shoe at you, boss man.
Oh yeah.
I alive. So the way that he just said, alive people can hurt you. I will hurt you.
Listen, to be very fair, so the one time
Is this episode paused, Jared?
No.
Okay.
I paused it for a split second. Why would
And then the violence come out.
Yep, the violence come out on pause.
That's fine.
Anyway, so for me, I respect the ocean, but I don't fear it. Even in the slightest.
Healthy fear is a good amount of fear. That's
Nah.
why you fear God.
I respect the ocean. Because, like, the time I nearly drowned...
But to respect something, you have to have a healthy fear of it.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I
Sorry.
I think
Yeah,
if
I
you
think
have
so.
if you respect something, you know its capabilities, you and in its capabilities, you know that it's capable of killing you, and therefore you have the fear and knowledge of what it is, but you aren't like terrified of it. You're not letting it control you, but to be fearful of something doesn't mean that you have to let it control you, that you have to be like, oh, you'll kill me if I go into you. To have a healthy fear of something is to know it's dangerous and
Like I
still.
got a healthy fear already, honestly. Like I
No,
honestly no, I know if I go in and I start to die, that on me. That is 100% on me.
Exactly that.
I shouldn't be there.
No,
Like I can't swim. I should not be there. The fact that I am there, something went terribly wrong, and that is 100% on me. If I die, I die.
Stay tuned for our water
That on me.
episodes.
No, I ain't gonna fight it. Like I don't wanna get punch me in my head and knock me out
It
or
don't work.
let me die.
It don't work.
I know.
It
To
don't
be
work.
quite fair, right?
The adrenaline really. Actually,
To be quite fair, if you ever witness Andre in water, it's very easy to save him.
No, it's not.
His adrenaline doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I don't panic.
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
think
no,
I
no.
just die.
His adrenaline doesn't do anything. He just stays there. Is he afraid? Yes. He doesn't do anything.
I literally just accept my death.
He's a very easy person to save.
If
Those
something
people who are like,
So-
oh my gosh, I'm drowning. No, I know the people that
I
I
will.
mean.
I can tell you my story.
He's not one of those.
So Andre knows how far he does swim normally when he get to the beach. I just go far. I like to go for a little cool stroll. That's what he's called it.
Could never.
So I went for a cool stroll, and a friend of mine was like, "Oh, I want to come."
Nope.
So I was like, "Sure, if you want to come, I'm gonna make sure you are good.
Nope.
You have my
Don't ever
flipper.
tell people
No.
that.
You have my flippers. You have my pull guards. You have everything that you could possibly need. If you got a problem,
Jared,
just lay afloat."
don't ever tell somebody that. Don't ever tell somebody that.
Shh. I was young. I was 20. We going out. We going out. I get to my usual point where the water hit dark blue, and I about to do my flip turn. I look back and I can't see my friend. So oh wait, I see a little splash there, 200 yards back. Swim and go on top speed to the man.
Nope.
Get to the man, and the first thing he does is this.
Yep.
One hand out, and we going down.
Yep.
I was just like, I got breath. This was like shortly after I was a top swimmer, and I going down, and I going down. I was like, yo, this is a waste down, and we still going down. Cause I want to touch the bottom. I was curious. I touched the bottom,
That's
and I
not
look up.
healthy fear. That's ADSC. No offense, but offense.
I look at it, man. I look up. I was like, that's a lot of water.
What do you mean you want to touch your bottom?
Because that's what you usually
That's
do.
not healthy fear, Jared. That's idiocy.
No. This
That's
was
not respect for the ocean. That is, I will later die. That's
Pause.
what that is.
pause. This is the whole. I nearly died before. This is how I lost my fear, Danny Ocean. Anyway, right. Also, I can hold my breath for 5 minutes back then.
I just want you to know this is not healthy fear. This is not healthy fear.
No, this is very
Coming from a therapist, this is not healthy fear. Do not listen to Jerry. He's talking nonsense.
Well, this was before the fear.
This was before
I want to
the
touch the
fear.
bottom of the ocean.
This is before the fear, Simone.
I want to touch the bottom of the ocean. Continue.
So I touch the bottom. I look up, and it's like how tall the like pauses is like the top of them. I was like, I got a human on me. I gotta get back to the top first, and then I gotta get back to shore
I do respect you wanting to save your friend, though.
with a human.
My friend was gonna die.
And
Sorry.
he's there running out the air, and I was just like, when I get back to the top, I can knock you out. Swim top speed, get back to the top, pull him off of me, and does this. Box across his temple, no less. I was like, I not giving it a chance to not work. I hit this man. His eyes blinked for 2 seconds, and he came back to instantly. I was just like, cool. Strapped him, he grabbed onto my butt, and I just started swimming.
At least you got enough for him to reposition.
We get to shore. I look at the man and was like, F you? And pass up. I was very well sunburned. And that was when my fear of the ocean started. And pure respect. But I still did swim out the whole time. But it's alone.
Yeah, because why try to save somebody is...
If I die out there, that's my fault. That I was not good.
If he had died out there, that's his fault.
Yeah.
My mother has always been like, don't ever try to swim as far as somebody else could swim. You don't need to prove anything. I can swim far, okay? Go along, swim, buddy.
12 seconds later.
Thanks so much for watching. Thanks again for 100 subscribers. Keep subscribing. Send to your friends. Share, like, comment, all the things. We have so much in store. Look out for next month. We have a lot of announcements coming. They can't come right now because we haven't fully talked about them to the extent or put everything in place. You know, I hate when people just be like, oh, there's a surprise coming. And then they don't tell you what the surprise is right away.
Yeah, let's not be that people. So these are the surprises.
No, you'll have to wait.
Clickbait!
So there are a lot of things in store that we're working on right now that will come out shortly within the next month. I'm pretty sure we will announce what those things are. There will be some changes. However, it'll be the same great content, fun, talking, laughing, me stressing Jericho, Andre saying some out-of-pocket thing, special guests. Like, all of that is going to remain the same. But we're going to add some fun, interesting content. So that was like the pre-announcement to the full announcement. Mm-hmm. That will be coming soon, and that will be its own separate video. But thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, send to people so that you don't miss out on all of the fun, exciting content that is to come. We're going to be growing so much this year. We're going to put a lot more effort. I mean, we're already putting a lot of effort. Don't get me wrong. So
I haven't slept in months, guys. I sleep in a cage.
I crashed out twice.
I mean,
she wouldn't let me eat cereal.
Jarek actually did crash out, but different reasons. The episodes that will never see the light of day. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
But was he wrong, though?